Welcome back. How are you doing? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing okay. I'm Emma, if you're new here. I am thrilled that you're here. You've sincerely given me a treat rather than a trick. Today, you're gonna help me plan my month of reading in October. October is always the month in which there's a lot of fretting. We fret over what to read because for me, I have so many options and I hoard all of my spooky, gothic, horror, thriller, frightening books for October. It is reassuring that if I was trapped in a bunker, I would have, a sizable amount of October books. We're gonna go through my bookshelves. I'm also taking my last class, my last lecture of my undergraduate degree, so gotta fit those on. Have a couple book club picks, and yeah, without further ado, let's go shop our shelves. We interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcasting for a word from our sponsor. Has this ever happened to you? You have a collection of obscure German works by your favorite poet, but alas, you cannot read them. Well, what are you waiting for? Download Babel and find out what those esoteric texts are waiting to tell you.
Woher kommst du?
Woher kommst du?
Ich komme aus Spanien.
Babel is a language learning app and it's proven to get you up and speaking your target language in less than a month. I've been learning German very slowly, something I've been doing a little bit every single day because the goal is literally just to read Rilke. The dream was to be able to put out or just have my own translation of some of his key works.
Fest.
Every time I try speaking German, Kelsper goes insane.
Wie geht's?
Wie geht's? Bet.
Bett.
I love that the app has speech recognition and that it makes you talk, because one of the most important things when it comes to learning a language to make sure you can actually speak the language is, of course, speaking. Ich komme aus Schweden. I come from England. Ich komme aus England. And they just have a learning style that I think combines a whole bunch of different approaches to help you learn your language. You can get 60% off your subscription, or you can scan the QR code. Thank you so much to Babel for sponsoring today's video, and back to our regularly scheduled programming. I've never read Daphne du Maurier, still. To this day, I've never read Daphne du Maurier. What's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? I have my cousin Rachel and I have Rebecca on my shelves. I don't know which one is spookier. For some reason, I think it's Rebecca, but I think my cousin Rachel is also quite spooky, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I don't know why I never feel the urge to read Daphne du Maurier, probably because I don't know what her writing style is like. I feel like at the end of the day, I would always reach for Angela Carter instead, but I've never read her, so I don't know. Which one should I read first? Is this a kind that I want to listen to on audiobook, or is this one that you think I should read for myself? Okay, so my classics shelf only had a couple that I wanted to read. My classics shelf, which is just that one over there now, I've read, that's the section of my bookshelf I read the most from. This shelf is all really cool books, and there are so many spooky ones. So I'm gonna have too many options on this shelf. The bedroom, I moved all these shelves here, which is nice. I kind of like it. So up here, I really do want to read God's Grave. It is quite October-y to me. I don't know if like now's the time to do it though. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know, because I'm already in the middle of Game of Thrones, which I'm trying to finish desperately before October runs out, but yeah. These are any of these giving me like October vibes? These ones I more want to read in the winter. I did recently find this candle though, in a bag that I hadn't unpacked yet. Okay, I know there's some in here. Okay, crap, there's a ton in here. I want to read this manga. This is like a literary compendium of witches that I really want to get to, but that's more of like a book that you kind of just flick through on a coffee table. It's so gorgeous. I do want to read this. This is very autumnal. This I've had on my shelf for way too long. I need to just decide if I want to keep this or get rid of it, and I think I just need to start actually reading it and then decide if I want to keep it or not. This shelf, I really do want to read Quiet In. I mentioned this in my Rex video, so I probably won't talk about it again in depth, but I do really want to get to this because this one I've also had for a while. These two piles are all books that I've read, and I don't think I want to do any rereads of them, although I would like to reread House of Leaves eventually, but not ready for that journey again yet. Murakami shelf, I think I might save my next Murakami read, which is going to be Hard-Boiled Wonderland, for November. I think I'll read that one in November. I do really want to read Wuthering Heights again and Dracula, but Wuthering Heights to me is also a weird Christmas read, so I might save that one for Christmas actually. And then this is my like fantasy romance shelf, I guess, or dark romance. And the only one on here I haven't read is Nevermore, but yeah, I might save this for a random vlog, so maybe I won't put that on. Okay, so I just pulled a ton of books off of my shelf. I'm going to see what I need to read for my class first. We are looking at Jane Eyre right now, which I've already read, and then I know after that we are going to be reading The Yellow Wallpaper, which I've already read a bajillion times. And The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin, which again, I've already read. I actually just read that for my American Lit course, so they're super fresh in my mind. I've read both of those for my American Lit course, which is a little unfortunate, but it's not something I need to read like again right now, so I just need to see what we're going to be reading for the rest of the month, because I'll also be going on a trip, also be going on vacation in October, so I need to get ahead of absolutely everything. Okay, this one I'm actually really excited for. I need to read The Laugh of Medusa, The Laugh of the Medusa. I've been wanting to read that for actually a really long time, by Hélène Cixous. So, and then, oh boy, we're going to be reading The Wide Sargasso Sea. Oh no. Jamaica Kincaid, girl. I love Jamaica Kincaid's A Small Place. It's like an essay. It's quite a short essay, but it is so good. It's on my shelf. Definitely recommend. But we're going to be reading Girl by Jamaica Kincaid. We're also going to be reading Everyday Use by Alice Walker. And then we're also going to be reading Revolutionary Women Making Ourselves Subject by Bell Hooks. Also going to be reading Simone de Beauvoir, Myths of Women in 5 Authors. Oh, and A Room of One's Own. The big one for me is going to be Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys, which I do have on my shelf. Kind of a rewriting of some parts of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. So that is the big one that I'll need to get through, and then the other ones are they're a bit shorter pieces, but yeah, that I'm excited for this month actually. I find myself in need of a ship and a crew. I find myself in need of recommendations for books written by Icelandic authors, and I'll let you do the rest. So if you have any recommendations for books written by Icelandic authors, please leave them below. And then the very last thing that I need to check before I sit down and show you all the books that I pulled from my shelves is the Dickens versus Tolstoy read for October. It's going to be a Tolstoy pick. I think it should be 2 Tolstoy short stories, but I just need to see which ones they actually are. Is going to be What Men Live by Tolstoy, as well as How Much Land Does a Man Need? What Men Live By and How Much Land Does a Man Need? Sounds extremely Tolstoy. In any of my things? HarperCollins UK just started following me? No way. literally fangirling about that right now. Okay, that's cool. Anyway, let's sit down and talk you through the picks that I did really ambitiously put in a pile to read. I think that I've picked the ones I'm gonna throw on here, or at least the ones I just want to discuss with you guys and see if there's literally any possibility of me getting any of these read. This first one was a gift, thank you so much, and that is Mary's Monster by Lita Judge. Love, Madness, and How Mary Shelley Created Frankenstein. This one has been on my radar for years. I've actually had this on my Goodreads to read since like 2013 or something. Cool. This is the very famous story of how Mary Shelley conceived Frankenstein. So this is free verse with over 300 pages of black and white watercolor illustrations. You heard it here first. It's pretty much like her journal, but her journal in free verse in a whole bunch of poems. And then it's obviously paired with so many illustrations. I'm so excited to read this. I'm a bit worried if I am gonna like it or not, if I'm gonna like I like the illustration style, but if I'm going to like the free verse poetry journalistic aspect of this, we shall see. But anything Frankenstein, I will be there. I will consume it. One of my favorite books, and yeah, so this one is definitely going on. I have been waiting a literal decade to read this, and someone threw this into my life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. So this is the first book that I'm gonna try and read this Halloween. Next up, I have The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. I'm hoping this is going to be to me what Mexican Gothic never got to be. This one I received from Book of the Month, and it is another Gothic story set in Mexico. It is set in the aftermath of the Mexican War for Independence. We have our girl, Beatriz, and her father was murdered. I don't think she has a lot of money, and so when she gets a marriage proposal, or when she somehow finds that she can kind of worm her way into the house of this very rich man, she's like, I gotta do what I gotta do. And she ignores like all the rumors of him potentially murdering a bunch of his other wives, concerning that he's had a bunch of other wives, concerning that they're all dead, but she doesn't really have any other choice, and so she goes to his estate. Classic Gothic things. I hope it comes with a really cool story, better writing. The thing with Mexican Gothic for me was that I was obsessed with the idea and the vision at the heart of it, and all the little things that went into making it, but the overall execution, especially the writing style, the pacing, the plotting, and some of the overall logic of some things. I'm well aware we're in the logic of the Gothic, but it just didn't really make very much sense. So I'm hoping The Hacienda gives me everything that Mexican Gothic didn't. A Gothic classic I am dying to get to is Zafloya. Look at how stunning. Look at how stunning. This is a story of Vittoria. It's set in Italy, I think. It's a tale of lust, betrayal, and multiple murders set in Venice in the last days of the 15th century, and it's about how she becomes, I think, the servant of Satan and has to work for him. It says there is a commitment to vice that goes beyond that of the monk in Lewis's deluded character. And speaking of the monk, I also do want to read The Monk this October. Wish me luck. This was apparently a huge influence on Byron and Shelley, which is so cool, and I just really want to read this. It says Zafloya has been unduly neglected, so we're gonna give this one some love. I cannot wait. I just want to flip and like read something. I could seriously only read Gothic books until I died. She was not susceptible of a single sentiment, vibrating from a tender movement of the heart. She could not feel gratitude. She could not, therefore, feel affection. She could inflict pain without remorse, and she could bitterly revenge the slightest attempt to inflict it on herself. So good. Okay, the thing with The Monk is that I actually started this last October, and my bookmark is still inside it, and that's how far I got. And I was loving it, but then I kind of ran out of time to read it. Like, it was well past Halloween, and like I just kind of I didn't want to keep reading with it. I didn't want to keep reading it for some reason at that time. I wanted to return to it a year later, and so I have it. I do remember everything that happens. We are following a monk, Ambrosio. We're set in Spain, I think. Yes, in Madrid, and he is like the pinnacle of godliness and goodness. People come from literally all over the place to witness his sermons, to go to his church lessons. to go to church just to see him speak. He's also quite handsome. All the ladies are in love with him, but they all think that he is just like the pinnacle of faith. and the Catholic Church. Yes, of course it's Catholic Church. He's a monk. I love stories about things happening in churches that really should not be happening in churches. I think it's such a cool commentary. And of course the monk is about his like descent into depravity. He falls in love with a young woman of the congregation, I believe, and he begins a terrible descent into immorality and violence. Also a really cool connection between the monk and Matthew Lewis's inspiration from the awful things that were happening during the French Revolution. So just overall, so excited. Like I said, I got 54 pages through and I was really into it. Okay, completely different. I don't know how this one is gonna go. If I can find an audiobook, I think that might be the only way I'll read this. I don't know. I might try it for myself, but that is The X-Hex by Aaron Sterling. This is supposed to be like Halloween Town, which I've only seen in bits and pieces, but it's supposed to be like Halloween Town and like an adult romance book. So The X-Hex is about, I think it's a second chance romance, is that what you call them? She breaks up with her boyfriend because he does something awful. She's also supposed to be a witch, like she's always been told that she is a witch, but she's never believed it until one night she decides to curse her ex-boyfriend with a Bath and Body Works candle. She like does her little silly incantation over it, never expects it to work, but then she finds out that the curse did actually work, and he sweeps back into her little town where she's staying for October, I guess, and more things are unleashed on the town and they have to team up. It sounds absolutely wild. This cover's really cute. I'm worried I'm just gonna cringe my way through it, honestly. Can we find out what is the name of the actual Bath and Body Works candle? I just want to know the scent that they curse so I can do it myself. The scent is Orchard Hayride. If you have someone you want to curse, apparently Orchard Hayride is the one to use. This one actually looks terrifying, and this one I'm a little bit scared to read. I bought this when I was with Carolyn at like a specific genre horror bookstore. Like the bookstore is called Little Ghosts. It's in Toronto and it specializes all in horror, thriller, mystery, mostly like very hard horror. Every single book on that shelf was something excruciatingly disturbing. Carolyn did not walk out of there with anything, but I walked out with a book called Be Devoured by Sarah Tantlinger. What drew me to this book? This is about a woman who becomes obsessed with eating roadkill? Dead things? She wants to try eating what the vultures are eating. She becomes obsessed with this pack of vultures. I don't know what the proper word is for a group of vultures. We're just gonna call it a pack. A clan, a school, a herd, an enclave, a council of vultures that she sees every morning outside of her house. And of course they're feasting on dead things, decaying things recently deceased, and for some reason she's like, I need to know what that is like. I want that for myself. What does carrion taste like? She has to know. The vultures circling outside her home taunt and invite her to come understand the secrets hiding in their banquet of decay. I flicked through this in the bookstore and I did feel a little revisitation invitation from my breakfast, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm actually really excited for this, but yeah, looks very disturbing. An audiobook I am going to get to, I think I might start this even today and try it out, is The Silence of Bones by June Her. Gorgeous. I didn't know this is YA until I looked at the audiobook. I actually didn't think this was YA, but this is a mystery set in 1800s Korea, and we followed this young girl who witnesses a murder and has to befriend, I think, the investigator and like become his ally to unravel the case, see what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna give it a go. I've never read June Her. First of all, look at this cover. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? This is The Sister Who Ate Her Brothers and Other Gruesome Tales by Jen Campbell. Jen also has a YouTube channel here on YouTube, and she very kindly sent me her book. Thank you so much, Jen. And of course, I have been saving it for spooky season. I think she sent me this in the summer or early spring, and I've just been hoarding it, saving it for October, because this is fairy tales that are absolutely horrific from all over the world. Stories from like Korea, Ireland, Japan, Norway, Nigeria, Egypt, Germany, Russia, and so many more. So I'm really looking forward to this. This just looks so cool, and it's also illustrated. Yes. So this one, definitely gonna fit it on. Okay, and then I have like 2 or 3 more. The first one is a recent purchase, and the other one is a very ancient purchase, probably one of the oldest books on my shelf that I have not yet read. The first one is a manga, and that is The Girl from the Other Side by Nagave. Look at how cute this is. I heard about this one on BookTube and I had to buy it. It's about this girl who like makes friends with, I think, a creature from the other side or something like that, so the Twilight realm and stuff, but she starts to make friends. In a land far away, there are 2 kingdoms: the outside, where twisted beasts roamed that could curse with a touch, and the inside, where humans lived in safety and peace. The girl and the beast should never have met, but when they do, a quiet fairy tale begins. It sounds wholesome, it looks beautiful, it looks perfect for October, so this one's going on. And then this is the one that I have had for years. I picked this up thrifted just because it looked like something I would enjoy, and that is The Secret Life of Laszlo, Count Dracula by Roderick Anscombe. So this author is like, I think he's a professor at Harvard, and I think he teaches criminology. Harvard Medical School, and he's worked extensively with the criminally insane. So then he wrote this reimagining, I guess, of Dracula's life, and I think it's more about his love life. It's set in the 19th century, and his story begins at a medical school in Paris with a deadly attraction to a mental patient. Look at this. Look at how cool. Anyway, if anyone, I've never heard anyone ever mention this book ever, so if anyone has actually read The Secret Life of Laszlo, Count Dracula, tell me if this is just a bizarre read I should skip, or if it's actually quite interesting. That's it. That's gonna be it, I think, for this TBR, because that was really extensive. I cannot wait for this month of reading. I love October. I know you guys do. I'm so looking forward to the cozy, spooky content. So yes, if you have any other recommendations for me that you think I should just slap on, because I have so many more, as you saw when I went through my shelves, tell me. I'll see you when I see you. So until then, ciao.